Alright guys, another day, another episode. So today we've got a very interesting guest. She's been on our podcast before when we were less organized. Okay. Now that we are far more organized, we thought we would bring her on again because again, we're talking about Adele Wong here, who's a dietitian, someone who I've been working quite closely with. Okay. Not just with her, I also work with patients. I wanted them to see her because I feel like as much as I know things about diet as well, but I think getting proper information from someone who's been doing this as their bread and butter is probably more important. I feel like that gives them a bit more nuances. I think she's probably going to give better and accurate advices when it comes to diet. Mm-hmm. So, Adele, could you please tell our listeners who don't know who you are,
Hey everyone, my name is Adele. I'm a registered dietitian and I've been around for over 8 years, working with quite a wide range of individuals, from athletes, your weekend warriors, your chronic diseases, your women's health as well. I also work with corporate companies, and to date I've worked with maybe 100 over corporate companies and over 1,000 individual clients. And yeah, currently also the nutrition coach for Adidas Runners KL.
Great.
Nice.
So, I've got a question. Like, how do individuals find you? I mean, besides sometimes people referring them to you, but how do they actually find you? Do you have a company or something that you run?
Nutrition Track.
Yes, Nutrition Track, at Nutrition Track. Okay. Usually they will search for dietitian or nutritionist around Malaysia. They usually would get.
Because the question why I'm asking that is do people actually search for dietitians?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They do.
A lot more in the last few years.
Because last time dietitians hospital.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jabatan dietic.
Yeah.
That's what we think about when it comes to dietitian.
That's very true. Yeah.
But I think good that more people know that someone like you exists and they can ask direct advices. And how does that work? When they consult with you, is it just one consult, or do you have sessions with them? And do you have review points, or is it online coaching? It's you give them a diet and then they have to, I don't know, document what they eat and so on, and then they get back to you and so on?
It's a combination of all of those. So I do have one-off individual consultations. If someone just wants to check in for something, they can just do a one-off session. If someone wants a little bit more, it's usually one plus maybe a few other reviews. And then I do also have long-term in the sense that they will hop on a 4-week coaching program with me for more targeted goals.
And do you work with any clinics to do blood work and so on?
Not specifically with any clinic, but if they need blood work, I'll just get them to do one, or if they've already done one recently, then we'll just use that.
Because most clinics, when they do blood work, they're probably not addressing nutritional deficiencies, especially your vitamin D, your magnesium, your zinc levels, and so on. Do you specifically ask for those kind of things?
Not really, because not a lot of nutrients can also be seen as well. So yeah, we just focus on probably things like you said, vitamin D, iron is probably the one that, and also blood sugars, cholesterol. These are the ones that are more heavily influenced by diet. Mm-hmm. The rest is, I would say, a little bit more questionable, a little bit more difficult to just look at blood work. We have to look at blood work and other potential symptoms of if there's a nutrient deficiency.
I see. Okay. Because sometimes you probably get clients coming in and say I eat a balanced diet, but I often cramp. I eat a balanced diet, but I feel like I'm going out of flight. I feel very fatigued. At that time, do you have iron deficiency? Do you have magnesium deficiency that's probably causing this?
Balance also doesn't mean enough.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people assume. I take multivitamins every day. The multivitamins have magnesium oxide, and the absorption is horrible.
I take everything in my entire, when people come to my house, they'll see my stack of supplements and they go they're legit scared because it looks like a small pharmacy. But the thing is, when you go to countries when my friends from Australia come over, it's this is totally normal. This is totally normal. And the thing is, you'll find everything but multivitamins there. Because I get a lot from food and fruits and all that, but multivitamins, if you take the others individually, at least if you know what you need, you don't really need that. But then again, there are some individuals I would think that do need it. But I'm not the expert per se on in that particular domain. So what do you think? Do you think that it's better for these individuals who do need it to take a multivitamin, or would you rather tell them, okay, why don't you take individual items? Because the dosages for multivitamins as compared to taking them on their own, some would argue that it's much more valuable or worth it to take them as their own, especially if, say, an individual needs more, I use from a vitamin D, maybe 10,000 or 15,000 perhaps. What do you think?
It depends on the individual and what issues they have, their background, their history, what their diet looks like, and whether or not they would benefit from a multivitamin or more like specific. Because some people actually do benefit from like an all-in, to kind of cover their bases. But yeah, it really depends on the individual.
All right. See, I told that we might go off tangent. We just went off tangent straight from the start. We just flew off.
It's okay, that's how we operate.
I realized that.
That's how we operate.
Okay, let's bring ourselves back. Okay, so why we got Adele here today is because we wanted to talk in specific, because she works with Adidas when it comes to coaching runners, when it comes to their nutrition. So I wanted to talk to her about nutrition in running athletes.
Yeah.
Because I think much like any other sport, running, it's a very technical sport too. Okay, and it's a very heavy on endurance, and I think the nutritional requirements are probably going to be different as well, and not just on a daily basis. And I think when you're prepping for competition, it gets a little bit more different. So maybe let's start with this. I don't want to go too far back, so let's just talk about pre-competition period. Okay, let's say the week out of the competition. All right, how would you advise someone because there are a lot of running competitions these days, like how would you advise someone to prepare for that nutritionally?
It really depends on what event they're running. So if it's a 5 or 10K, there's nothing like too different that they need to do the week before. Probably just really make sure that their nutrition is on point a few days like leading up to it, but technically speaking, not too technical in terms of that. Even for a half marathon, I would probably just say like, you just really need to increase carbs like the few days like leading up to it. But yeah, I think the real difference is really when it comes to a marathon, where we do recommend carbo loading specifically for people who are really gunning it and not just like running for fun, if that makes sense.
Is there any specific protocols that you will follow?
Yeah, so 48 hours before, typically we want to aim for carbs between 8 grams to 12 grams per kilogram body weight.
Per kilogram?
Of body weight.
Oh, dude,
so if you're 60 kilos, that looks like 400 something to 700 something, that range.
That's a lot of carbs.
There's a lot of carbs, yeah.
Wow.
So you do need to practice it prior to your race, because it may make you feel heavy, you retain more water because of the glycogen, you may feel puffy, and some people don't like that feeling, so you definitely need to practice before and see how you feel before you actually do it.
How long out would you like practice that? Like if you were to do that, would you do it like the week prior to that as well?
Oh, no. Just throughout your training block. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So that means you do try like...
Not like every time, but like you can probably choose like maybe a long run, where probably there's several kms that is at marathon pace, and you might want to practice that.
Okay, so that means really prior to your competition, you already gave yourself a go of how it feels like to do this as well. But do you do any sort of depletion before you actually do that? Like sometimes the bodybuilders, right?
Yeah.
They go through the depletion phase, then they
And then there are two protocols for that. There is a depletion one, and then there's a more sustainable one. So typically, we won't do the depletion.
Okay, so that's carbs. How about like proteins and fats? Is there anything that changes with that?
Well, because the carbs are going up, right? So the fats, we want the fats to drop a little bit more. Protein, we don't change too much, but we also don't want to eat too much protein. But yeah, just make sure that every meal has protein, that's fine.
Okay, so there's no real specific targets to meet or so on?
Not really.
Okay.
There's no like per kilogram body weight formula?
Not much changes, not much changes. But because the carbs are going up, just make sure that you drop the fat as well. Because also digestion is slower, you may feel not great on race day if there's too much fatty and fried food, so you kind of want to avoid that as well.
But this only applies to what, 5 and 10s or?
Oh, there's a marathon.
Marathon, fulls.
Yeah,
full
marathon. Yeah, 42.
So full marathons, like, so the carbs definitely go up, the fat goes down. So isn't like there's some fat involved to like sort of like keep the digestion like slow but not too slow? Does that make sense?
I think fats is very hard. You don't see fats, you know what I mean? Like, carbs and protein is very obvious, right? But fats are like in everything.
You
kind of,
everywhere.
you can't really spot fats. So I would just probably, like, for practical sake, it's just don't go for too fried foods, deep fried foods, like heavy creamy kind of foods, and just kind of avoid that. Yeah.
I think in general, most of us are already start enough fats.
Yeah, correct. We
Actually,
won't be
that's the
deficient
thing.
in
Say,
fats,
like,
that's for sure.
You don't have to worry, you got enough fat.
Yeah.
Even Kipchoge has enough fats. Yeah, so I'm very sure I have enough fats. Don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like calculating that for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can understand that point of view. Okay, now when you said about carbs, right? One thing that comes in mind, like, we do this powerlifters, we are very worried about fiber intake. Because when you're very close to the competition, if your fiber intake ramps up too much, you tend to store a lot more in your gut as well. So do you also, like, when you're talking about carbs, right? Would you go like closer competition, keep it simple?
Yes.
Rather than very high fibrous carbs?
So we do refine. So like the white rice, right? It's kind of the opposite of the recommendations that we normally give to the general population, right? So yeah, it's all your refined stuff, 2 days out. But again, this is very much individual. So for example, for myself, right, like my diet tends to have a lot of fiber anyway.
Okay.
So I'm very used to fiber. So even the days out, I don't have to swap out. Like I still eat whole grain bread and stuff like that. I don't specifically need to swap out. So there is some element of like individualization as well.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. Now, on race day, like, so say you're running a 6 a.m. competition, okay? I don't know, what is a normal, typical tee-off time for
I think the longer the distance, the earlier the...
I know the tee-off time sometimes...
Bro,
like,
some people finish at 6, not start at 6.
They start at like 12 a.m., some even 12 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., depending on
but
what.
you've done a lot of marathons, so what is the typical time they tee off?
I haven't run a lot of marathons, but yeah, I would say...
More than both of us.
That's for sure.
I would say average, probably around 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay, so
AM.
there goes circadian rhythm.
Yeah, we have everything out the window.
Okay. So when because I remember that when we were learning SNC, there's the 4-hour out window, and then there's the 2-hour out window, and then there's the 1-hour out window where you do different things. So if it's 2 a.m., then probably your 4 hours out is about 10 o'clock. So how would you eat differently?
I would say have a really good dinner and a really good whole day,
Okay.
and then focus on your sleep, and probably just wake up like, depending on what you want to eat lah, like 2 hours, 2-3 hours out.
And then you still carb load a little bit more lah.
I wouldn't just top up.
Okay.
Carb loading has been done lah, so just top up. Like,
Okay, because carb loading was
before.
only like started 48 hours
and of
before, right?
course, you need to do the in-race fueling as well. So that's where the fuel will come in still.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next question. I mean, now we talk about why I was talking about fiber is, would that make you feel sluggish if you had too much fiber in your diet in general?
Yeah. So like you said, if it's longer in your gut, that will cause more gut issues lah.
Okay. And then the flip side is when you're taking so much refined sugars, because I've heard of this thing called as like the runs. Or running diarrhea actually.
Yeah.
Because there's way too much sugar in the gut. Does that really happen to
I mean, runner's diarrhea is a thing. But I think that a lot of factors that come into play. It really is the food, the stress, the temperature, what else? The mechanical, the movement, basically the movement of like, running up and down and stuff like that. That itself will also cause like runner's diarrhea and stuff. So I think it's really hard to just say it's one thing. It's probably a combination of a few things.
Is there anything they can do to like mitigate this or like, I don't know, reduce the recurrence or this happening at all?
It depends on what that individual's problem is.
So that's why you always say like you test it out and see whether...
You definitely have to test it out. Yeah.
Okay.
So for myself, for example, if I get that after a run, like after like an all-out effort, really good effort run, I actually do feel that like throughout the day.
I see. You feel like your gut motility is just on a different
throughout the
level.
day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Never had issues in between, so.
Okay. I mean, I always wonder because like, so much food and you're running for an extended period of time and then you have to constantly fuel in between as well, right? Would that happen? Now, on the topic of consumption as well, now you just spoke about carb loading. Now, logically speaking, the fat of keto diet and carnivore diet, I don't know, suddenly picked up a lot of speed. I mean, keto diet has been there for forever.
Yeah.
But carnivore also started picking up speed recently as well, maybe in the last 5 years or so. Do you think that is actually a good idea for someone who wants to run?
Definitely not.
Why so?
Unless you don't want to perform. then by all means, go
Yeah.
keto and go carnivore, right? I mean, your body's primary source of fuel is your carbs. And sometimes people argue like, oh, you know, a marathon, you know, you're not running that fast because it's long, right? You're only just running in that fat burning zone or whatever you want to call that, right? But your body still will use carbs. Obviously, the ratio of carbs and fat is depending on the intensity, right? So I'm assuming, that's why I said if you're gunning for the podium or what, if you're really running for performance to hit your PB, you are going to put in a good effort and it's going to be hard and you will be running on carbs, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then they go with the energy systems and they start explaining the energy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, in the long duration, it's oxidative. I'm like, for number one, if you got there and you missed this, like, how did you even get to this and not understand this?
Yeah, and it's not a direct switch.
Yeah.
Right? It's always a combination of both, right? So yeah, and research has also shown that in elite race walkers, they actually did this study where they put people on low carb, higher carb. Low carb didn't perform, didn't improve. And in fact, they felt that the RPE was hard, like really perceived.
Tougher.
Yeah, harder. Yeah.
Was this a supernova study? There's one of it where it's called the supernova study.
Yeah, I think
they use very low carbohydrate versus regular carbohydrate.
It's Louise Burke's paper.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, that's her.
She's the one.
Correct,
She's the one that actually did a study on.
If you think about it, like also in your trainings, there are going to be, you're not always doing like zone 2 this. At some point, you're going to do sprints,
Correct.
fartleks.
Yeah.
So think about it like, okay, so if you're going to do like say a half marathon or marathon, why is there running involved? Which means at some point, you're going to have to like, if you're going to catch up to someone.
Correct, I would say that, yeah.
You're gonna have to increase your pace.
Correct. If you want to sprint to the finish line or you want to sprint up the hill and cut somebody, you're running on carbs. Yeah.
So I think the confusion comes when people think that the energy systems one operates at one given time, not knowing that they all operate at interchangeably at any given time.
Correct.
Like from sitting to standing to going there, you're all using different energy.
Yeah, correct. Exactly.
Yeah, I think the energy system is flexible and such. I think a lot of people don't realize that how the energy. I mean, I think the confusion also comes when there's a lack of knowledge as well, right? Because people should know that the fat oxidation, the name is oxidation, requires oxygen. It happens in an environment where there's enough oxygen to combust fat. On the other hand, carbs does not need oxygen. Of course, when you combust carbohydrates under a situation which is anaerobic, which is lack of oxygen, the amount of ATP you produce or the energy currency that you're producing is a lot lesser. It's 2 versus 38. Yeah, you might correct me if I'm wrong. The last time I learned glycolysis in medical school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The ratio is 2 to
38, you know, and glycogen is slightly lesser if I remember. Okay, so if you are going to run pace up, then the only thing that can fuel you is probably creatine monohydrate and, your creatine phosphate system and your glycogen, your glucose. Even if you're running at a pace that's technically comfortable, as the race progresses,
correct,
you're still going to get tired. That comfortable speed is going to become uncomfortable. Once you start hitting like 30 kilometers, that is going to actually become a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
And your oxygen consumption is not going to pace up enough. You're still going to need carbs at some point.
Yeah.
So I think it's a no-brainer that carbs is definitely a very, very important source of nutrition for runners. Okay, now moving on from that. So we know that carnivore diet and keto diet is not Adele approved. Okay, for running. Okay, so let's talk about while you're running. So what would your strategy be when you're running? Is there like, when I was planning for runs last time as a doctor, right? We have to plan this run, these fuel up stations, like where you get your fluids from and how far apart should they be, because that actually is very important, because that timing is actually important for them to get their next source of fuel or hydration. Okay, is there any particular strategies that you probably think that is helpful? Like, should it be every kilometer or every 5 kilometers or?
Again, it depends on the distance.
Let's talk about full marathon.
Oh, okay, talking about full marathon. Again, it really depends on the individual. But I would say in an hour, somewhere between 30 to 60 grams per hour is good. If you can push it to 90, research has shown that it can be quite beneficial.
Carbs. So in your one packet of gel that you guys use?
Depends on the brand. It can range from 20 to 60 in one. Yeah. So if you're holding, like carrying a 20, 25 gram, then you kind of need a lot lah. Probably taking 6 along with you. Okay. And then you just feel.
Well, a full marathon, there's a whole bag.
Yeah.
Like the ammo of action movies, like Strap X. Yeah.
Well, they do provide at stations, certain stations, they normally would tell you like the race. If it's a well done race, they will come up with like the map lah, and then they'll show you where the water stations, and then some stations they have banana, and then some stations they have like gels available as well. But obviously, you need to know the brand of the gel that they're using, because you don't know whether you can take that brand, right? And then the other thing is that in a race, well, you need to make sure that you take lah. If let's say you plan to take from that station, you better make sure you actually take it, because if you miss,
then the next one is like 3 kilometers away. You're already dying on the ground to find Adele for her.
Yeah, so I think always be prepared. But I mean, if you see you happen there's gel or whatever, then feel free lah. Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else that you would do as supplementation for a run?
During the run?
Yeah, during a run. Like nothing per se. What about caffeine?
Yeah. Well, again, it depends on individual tolerance, because caffeine can also give you the runs. So usually, again, some people can really take in between, but sometimes we take at the end to kind of give you that last kick for the last maybe 5 to 10K. And if anything happens, at least you're running towards the finishing line, towards the toilet already, right? So
there are gels that come with caffeine?
Yeah, there are gels that come with caffeine.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But since we're like on the topic of supplementation, do you supplement in creatine monohydrate?
Me or
Yeah,
like
you.
run?
I mean, like, do you, what's your stance on it in regards to like supplementing with it?
Well, I think it's a really good supplement. I personally take it, and yeah, I probably would recommend it to my runners as well. So it's not, well, there are many benefits, right? Besides just the strength, the muscular, there's also performance benefits, there's also cognitive benefits, right? And it's relatively safe, so I think it's something that you can kind of just throw in.
Then how about things like betaine and nitric oxide supplements like beetroot and so on? I hear that a lot in
Yeah, so nitrates is actually quite good. It's considered grade A in terms of supplements. So yeah, that's something that you can take before. So you're looking at 300 to 600 milligrams.
So these are like beetroot extracts?
The shot will be specific amount. If you make your own, you don't know how much is inside, right? Then you maybe just drinking, you don't know how much. But usually commercial shots are between the 300 and 600 milligrams. So you can take one, you can actually take 2 a day leading, maybe 3 days out leading up, and then you can just take one before, like 2 to 3 hours before your race.
And would something like beta-alanine be helpful?
It's more so for shorter distances.
So I mean more like probably in high rocks maybe better.
Yeah, probably that. I've seen like research in like more like rowing, shorter track distances. But people do say like it does help with the endurance if you have workouts that are short. Obviously there are shorter like intervals during training, right? Before that as well. So yeah, it could be helpful. I don't know, personally I probably wouldn't put it as like the top priority. Probably work on a lot of other things first before then. That will probably give that like last extra 1 to 2% kind of thing.
Okay.
That will probably add it.
Probably something like a sled push in high rocks would be more beneficial for that, like those quick
like
bursts.
the whoop, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that would
cover
be-
distance.
Yeah, that would probably be beneficial. But again, we know that beta-alanine works between like 1 to 4 minutes, right? That duration between that, and that kind of ties into most of your like high rocks activity or
The burst, the short
your
burst.
Viper or your red light and those kind of stuff. I think that's probably where it's going to be more helpful in that sense. Okay, if you had to give like, I don't know, a list of 5 supplements that you would say it's important when it comes to runners in specific, what would your list be like?
Ooh.
Is there anything we haven't heard?
No, definitely not. I would just say creatine.
Okay. Creatine?
Carbs in gels, if you consider that a supplement.
Okay.
Functional foods. Nitrates, I would say
Okay.
nitrates. I would say protein if you need protein.
Whey
Otherwise,
or whey protein?
whey protein if you need. Yeah, that would probably be it.
You have one more?
No,
You have
one more.
No.
Caffeine?
Oh yeah, okay, caffeine, fine. Yeah, caffeine.
Okay, caffeine.
Caffeine, yes. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So talking about caffeine, like we do this as like powerlifters, right? We do this where we go off caffeine for a week.
Oh, then you
then we-
introduce.
we
and then,
joke.
Yeah, so we
Ourselves with the
desensitize and then we try to reintroduce it.
do you think it works? Personally?
Yes, it does.
Mentally, is it placebo?
It's just like the act of having coffee.
I feel like it also has to be very like, you have to approach it because like obviously you don't want to have the runs. Number one, too much too soon causes jittery, anxiety,
Yeah.
all those things. So I usually, like, it used to be complete hard stop, then reintroduce.
But you stop 1 week.
It's not 1 week.
1 week.
72 hours.
So
72 hours before my meet, then I'll stop. But because I don't drink as much, also, so
And plus, he don't want to be on the news as well.
okay, okay,
for
okay.
choking somebody.
I'm not like an everyday caffeine kind of guy. I'm like as and when.
so you're okay, yeah. Then you're maybe not as.
Yeah, he will kill someone. I would probably just like be irritated at most.
Hey, but you'd be surprised. For someone who drinks a lot of caffeine, if I don't go, sometimes I forget that I've not taken coffee for the day.
Yeah.
But then you'll be like, why am I so
Because you
So
drink so
when-
much coffee, the
Why am I
coffee from
feeling
yesterday
like
is still in you.
Okay, wait. But if you, let's say you take, right? Do you calculate, or is it just coffee? Like coffee, like.
Okay, so in general, I actually don't take more than 2 coffees a day. Like I take a triple shot in the morning, and then it's for the whole day. And then normally it's at night. I take my pre-workout. I use Rule One's
Oh,
pre-lift.
take pre-workout at night.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
See? He can sleep after that, you know.
I'll take
How many
pre-workout.
how many milligrams?
A whole scoop. I think what 250,
which
300
one?
milligrams.
250 and 300 milligrams.
Yeah. And then I work out and go to sleep after
That's
that.
ridiculous. That's like
Yeah.
more than 400 milligrams a day.
Yeah, I think I can go up to 600 if I wanted to. I've taken 400 in a go.
You ask
before.
him what time he trains also?
Yeah, so I train up to about, like yesterday I was training to 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
What?
See?
Yeah.
And he's on 600 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Father with 2 kids and a business. What
Yeah,
are we going to
exactly.
do?
Yeah, I know, I get that.
Yeah, so I got,
You really get
I got no choice. But plus, I had to deadlift 260 yesterday.
Oh,
So
damn.
I needed the jolt from
If
there.
I
But
drink
anyway,
that
yeah.
much,
So,
you see me like running around my neighborhood, just like, Raj, where am I?
but
Where
but
am I?
I get your like what? You taking caffeine at this time of the day? Yeah, because a lot of people they can take caffeine at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and not sleep.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So me on the other hand, I've got super high tolerance to caffeine. So I don't really think I'm like I drink coffee a lot. I'm talking about I'm drinking 2 coffees a day. That's not a lot. But for some reason, I think I'm probably a
3
bit of a
shots is a lot though.
Yeah.
no. I'm probably a bit of a. I wouldn't say the 3 shot come like that kind of situation. It's just I feel normal with 3
Yeah.
shots, And if I don't take it, I feel slightly sluggish, but not to the point where I cannot function. It's not like I can't keep my eyes open like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that bad. And I've gone like almost half the day. I'm not taking any coffee, and I'm still okay most
Yeah.
of the time. So it's probably I'm a fast digester for some reason. So I drink coffee because it's a nice beverage. That's about it. I enjoy it as a beverage. Okay, so we have gotten that. Okay, now I think when I was discussing with you when we were talking about wanting to talk about running, you said that a lot of runners sometimes overdo things
Yeah.
and some of them underdo things. So
Yeah.
let's start with what do they overdo?
Eat.
Really?
I mean, like we have a Malaysia, right? We have Malaysia, and I feel like we're always at 2 extreme ends. The runners are either eating too much or they're eating too little.
When you
kinda
say
want to
eating
hear,
too much,
guys.
what do you mean by eating? I mean, like eating like
I mean, like overeating lah. Like some people just overeat for
Because
like,
I run,
and then
I can eat.
Yeah. And like go for like a 5K run and then come back eat like they run a marathon.
deserve
you know
this.
What I mean? Yeah.
I deserve this 4 roti canai telur with them, but
Yeah.
I deserve to go to Hai Di Lao.
Yeah.
I mean, like that kind of mindset, that kind of concept.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, so that's probably what probably majority of people are overdoing. And then when they're underdoing, they're not eating too much,
Not eating enough.
eating
No, you know,
not eating enough for performance.
Like, do you see issues like intermittent fasting? Does it cause issues to running?
Yeah.
Like, can you strategize intermittent fasting to properly running? Is it
The
advisable?
question I will probably ask is why are you intermittent fasting in the first place?
I don't know. At some point, I feel like 1 in 5 patients I talk to, they're doing intermittent fasting and they're
Probably it's
also
not
running.
intentional though. Like it's because some people don't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
But they still go for a run.
Yeah.
So they have their morning coffee and including their sleeping time. By the time they break their fast, it's technically
Intermittent fasting.
intermittent
right?
fasting.
But I think most people, what they do is more like time restricted eating.
Yeah, time restricted eating, not
Yeah,
daily.
time restricted, correct. Yeah, time restricted.
They're more like, I'm not a breakfast person, that's it.
Yeah.
So they start eating at about lunchtime and they're done by 8 o'clock.
Okay, I'm big on if it works for you,
Yes.
that's fine. Like
Okay.
but if let's say you're someone who's training 2 times a day, or if you're like, you're ramping up something, that's where we probably need to chat. Like, okay, is this working for you still?
And then that makes it a bit complicating. See, when it comes to running, right? Because the way you guys do things is you have your LSDs, which are your long distance.
yeah.
You probably have your tempo runs.
Yeah.
You probably have fat leg.
Yeah.
And then you probably have an easy 5K.
runs, yeah.
Okay, some easy 5K.
Yeah.
So how do you address your nutrition? Do you address your nutrition based on those days, or do you generally just have
It
one
depends.
simple blueprint for everything?
It depends on my client. Like if my client is just doing that for fun, not really goal orientated, just kind of want to survive that, then it's a more simpler structure. But if let's say they want more, they're gunning for time, they really need to be a bit more specific. Oh, I need to hit this target time during this run and stuff like that. Then we just kind of need to be a bit more specific lah. But specific in the sense that you just want to make sure that you eat enough to fuel that run and then enough to recover.
Yeah, because your glycogen depletion for like 5 km versus a 15 km run is going to be very different, right?
Yeah, and someone like with restricted eating, right, and you want to load someone up, it takes about 72 hours for glycogen stores to be fully filled up, right? Something along those lines.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, and then someone who's like probably in 80 plus kgs, trying to get almost 500 grams of carbs in 8 hours.
That's a lot. This is what you told me, like 8 grams. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, 500 to 800.
Like,
some researchers have argued that it's on the higher end, but again, test it out and see what works for you.
Okay, now that leads to me the question I'm thinking about. Okay, so someone big like me, right? So I'm 100 kilos. Like, would you calculate that 8 grams or so based on my current weight or what you would think as an ideal weight? Current weight. Oh, that's a lot. That's 800 grams.
Dude, my competition, I was eating close to 1,000 grams or kilo of carbs. Kilo of carbs, not kilo of rice. Kilo of carbs.
Do you know, I don't even get...
800 to 1,000.
Did you actually manage to eat that much? How do you feel?
I woke up early and it's like every 2 hours, like there was at least 2 to 3 juices with my meals, but mostly 80% was from, 70% was from solid.
So it's quite a bit of like liquid carbs as well lah. You do liquid carbs as well.
Yeah, of course not, dude. Like you
try
1,000. Dude, you will vomit, man.
Who died?
So like,
I cannot imagine.
At one point, like I mix honey with my rice, and then like.
Because I can't even get past 300.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
like 300 is a lot.
If you're not,
Dude,
if you're
that's
not
like
used
one
to,
meal
if you're
for
not
me.
used to, yeah.
You're not used to it. That's the thing.
I eat like 1 bagel for breakfast with 1 fruit. That's my carb. Maybe milk has carbs. Yeah, okay. Milk has some carbs too. That's it. And lunch is half a plate of rice. And dinner is another half a plate of rice. That's probably my carbs for the day. Probably there's some hidden carbs in your vegetables and so on.
Fibrous carbs.
Yeah. So you got those as well. So yeah, I don't think I hit even 300, but still I don't know, I can't lose weight. Not enough sleep. Okay. Let's talk about this. Okay, now why I'm asking about that strategies is because there is a term called as hitting the wall when it comes to runners, and you see it quite a bit in actually full marathons.
Yeah.
Suddenly people like towards the finish line suddenly start crawling, and people like these people possess or they're getting injury. But they don't realize it's called hitting the wall. Literally, your body has no more energy. It's knocked out.
I'm gonna like full disclosure. When I first heard the term hitting the wall, I was like, wow, people don't have eyes. Why they hit something? And I was like, no, dude, it's like a feeling of like you actually hitting like something solid. Like they start describing it's like, oh. I thought like, okay lah, you run for so long, you're tired, you're dizzy, oriented, like just you run into a wall. So I'm like, what happens a lot to people? They can't see.
Look, so what would your advice as a dietitian, how would you advise someone who's going to commit themselves to a full marathon to prevent that from happening?
Train. A lot of people don't train enough.
Is it like a physiological or like a mental thing, really?
Both physically and mentally.
Because I think they don't understand like what she's talking about, nutrition of strategizing when you should give your nutrition, right? I think that's damn important. Because I think you should know your depletion time lah. I think when
that's why we do it before you deplete. Otherwise, it's too late already.
Yeah, so I think you have to understand your own physiology.
That's why you take even before you feel it. So it could be 20 minutes in, 40 minutes in, take, keep.
But once it hits you, is it too late?
Kinda. Yeah.
Have you hit the wall before?
No. But I've only done one, so I didn't hit the wall.
Because hitting the wall, it's quite nasty actually.
Yeah. and if you cramp up, that's worse lah.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of it, I will feel that it's, you either didn't feel properly or you didn't train enough to cover the distance.
And that's just full marathon, no? There are people who do ultras. Like I've got one patient who does ultras like on a 6-weekly basis. I'm like, dude,
6-weekly basis.
Crazy. If full marathons are difficult to think about nutrition, ultras is just a different beast altogether because these people are doing...
But then again, you're going a lot slower, like technically, depending on your level.
Yeah, but you get
then you can
if you're doing a 100-kilometer run.
You can, but people normally have like stops, like rest stations. They eat and then they go again, kind of thing. So
But
you have a lot more room for more nutrition in that sense.
Maybe you're right. Probably the pace is not.
Because
gonna be
you're not like running, yeah, not as fast, yeah, compared to road running.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Is there anything else you want to ask?
Yes. So everyone always says this. I'm not sure what's the currency behind it. Lactic acid.
Why?
People like always running all that burning sensation. It's like lactic acid buildup. Can you like explain to our listeners what actually is that that feeling that people have? Because Arvind and I know for sure that it's two different things.
Yeah.
What they're feeling and what the actual science behind it is different. So from your perspective, like, how do you address this when someone says, "Oh, is there anything I can do with my nutrition to slow down or prevent this lactic acid buildup?"
No, in the sense that it's a normal part of the process. It's not bad. In fact, it can be recycled back into energy. So yeah, if
It's called the Corey cycle, right?
Yeah. It's just basically how well your body.
all these terms, yeah, you can go back in.
Yes.
And then you can go make it some ATP thing as well. Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of preparedness when it comes to
Correct.
training. I think much like how your endurance is going to build with running, your endurance is not just a term. Your endurance is actually how the energy system, your buffer system, how your body actually releases glycogen for you to actually use it as energy.
All of
how
these
does
training
your fat,
methods, correct.
Yeah.
your breathing pattern,
Yeah.
all of these things actually
Yeah.
ties into actually making someone's endurance really
Increasing
good.
the cycle faster.
Correct. So I think much like anything else, because majority of your hydrogen is coming from ATP breakdown. Because when you break down, when you cleave ATP, it uses water to cleave it. Okay, hydrolysis. Okay, so that hydrogen.
Better take notes. It's like throwback to like uni. Is like
Doctor
back
talk
into,
coming out.
like back into the room. Is like everything's starting to look
Correct.
like a
So
classroom.
a lot of the hydrogen that is actually formed, I think you spoke about this when we were doing the Hyrox one as well, that acidity is actually coming from the breakdown of ATP. And your lactic acid is coming from anaerobic breakdown of glucose, which is what you form as lactate. And lactate is not actually acidic in most cases. And your body actually can actually recycle it to actually provide you more energy. Okay, so I think it's been used a bit too interchangeably.
Loose, yeah.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I think most people don't know that lactic acid doesn't exist in humans. It's
Yeah.
found in milk.
So
Okay, we have lactate, but somehow we just use it interchangeably.
I think
Okay,
they say acid, and then they associate with the burning feeling
Yeah.
that as if
Correct.
acid
Yeah.
was
correct.
building
It
up.
is an acid, but it's not coming from lactic acid.
Exit.
Yeah.
But I think also people just need to expect that when you train hard, when you push yourself, that's kind of what you feel as well.
Yeah, and I think this also ties into when you don't train enough and
Correct.
you end up with these kind of issues, your risk of injury actually spikes up really fast. And that's when muscle tears happen, tendon injuries, you might slip and fall, and all these things can happen as well because you're getting fatigued as well if you're not training in well enough. And when it comes to nutrition as well, do you have a duration at which they should try this out?
Try what?
Like when you're trying to, like you say, I'm preparing for a full marathon and I'm already say 3 months out. How far out would you ask them to start like getting your nutrition in place?
Oh, nutrition specifically.
Yeah.
I would say it's never too early to start. 3 months would be the bare minimum,
Yeah.
definitely. But you kind of want a strong base before that as well. I wouldn't really put a timeline to it, but anytime before that is a good idea. To kind of sort out your training, and kind of sort out your even your base, just your base, building up that base. Probably definitely more than 3 months.
Yeah, because why I'm asking this is because what you do in the early on is what's going to set the pace for how your
Correct.
improvement is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You have poor nutrition, like you eat fried food every single time and mee
Yeah.
goreng and try to run
And
out
then
of
it's
that.
definitely going to affect your recovery and then your next training
Correct.
session.
And then you try to get everything back into line within the month before the race, it probably is already a bit too late already.
Just go.
Yeah.
Just
So,
go. And run.
and I think that's the reason why most of your pro athletes and people who take their sport seriously manage their nutrition actually very early on.
Yeah.
Because it is tied
Absolutely.
to performance. And I think that's where someone like Adele comes in. So if you're looking to improve your running, I think getting your nutrition right is extremely important. Because you do not want to do this last minute. You know, much like someone who's, I don't know, doing powerlifting and trying to do a water cut to make their weight
Yeah.
in the 11th
Oh,
hour.
God.
You know, that is a really horrible strategy to work with because that's how you end up losing your strength and cramping up on platform And I don't think running is any different. You try to mess up everything at the very end.
Oh yeah, no.
You know, and I think there's a saying like, don't change your diet the last 2 weeks of the race. And that's when things will actually go all haywire, right? So if you're going to do anything, you're going to try any strategy.
It's way before that.
Exactly, way before that. I think that's why I thought it's important to highlight the importance of a nutritionist, especially when you're taking, or dietitian, when you're taking like the sport seriously. You know, you got to stop thinking that if you're going to do like, and I think full marathon is already considered like abnormal. No one is, you know, it's not normal for you to run a full marathon. Okay, so it takes a lot of preparedness. And I don't think you can eat like a regular Joe.
No,
maybe there are going to be fractions of people who can do it. Like they probably just drink a cup of coffee and do a full marathon. Okay, but the vast majority of people have to train and prepare themselves for it. And then I think that's where someone like Adele will come in. So, I think, is there anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, I just want to know your opinion. You're strictly just running, or are you touching high rocks, things like that? Or you have clients who do participate in high rocks?
Me or my clients? My clients, yes, both.
Okay,
both. The full spectrum.
But like, there's obviously a big difference between someone who's just running, like a 21, versus someone who's running intervals in high rocks setting. What's your take on it? Like, do the same principles apply, or different?
At the moment, there's actually no research in this population yet because it's fairly new, right? But there is a lot going on. There's a lot more coming out soon. But at the moment, we do pick from the endurance sports.
I think it's largely aerobic and running.
It is. With, running is a lot of it.
It's all of it. It's like zone 2, dude. It's like
all the way,
like,
and then you have like stations in between, right? But what we see is that, so they did come up with like this report thing and said that, your aerobic base and your running is going to be determining your performance in a high rocks.
So that was like my follow-up question. Like, people like in these papers you read the research, like, is it like a lot of the average individual who the top maybe 90th percentile, they have a better aerobic zone?
Definitely. A lot of them are actually previous professional runners.
See?
Or they're like some top elite in their country or something. Or they've competed in like swimming, tennis, some sort of endurance sport before. Like almost semi-elite, but like maybe some even in the
semi-pro.
Already semi-pro already. Or in triathlons, a lot of triathletes as well. And then they jump into high rocks. They've already got a good base. They just need to just brush up on the technical stuff.
Skill
like,
and some
so
strength.
a little bit only. Like, a lot of it is very doable, right? A lot of the moves in high rocks is very doable. So definitely, if you have a strong aerobic base, that's your advantage.
Yeah.
So bad for us, bro.
So we borrow a lot from the endurance research.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
in terms of
that makes sense.
the nutrition.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I think we covered a lot of bases when it comes to running and everything.
I feel like this episode is gonna get a lot of views because like high rocks, running is like, and it's so like nutrition, because everyone's like, okay, fine, training, we know training, then we can go to here to train, here to train, but how to eat? How do I apply this?
No, because you see a lot of like proper diet. Like, okay, you can talk about bodybuilding as a sport, right? That like really takes diet very seriously.
Yeah.
Because bodybuilding is probably your aesthetics is so tight to your how you eat. But the rest of the sports, most of them are just winging it actually. Okay, they're not really calculating anything, not really thinking about it. But if there's anything that needs to be calculated, I think running is the next one in order. Because it's such a demanding sport, especially if you're doing full marathons. And if you don't have an idea of how this nutrition system works, what metabolic flexibility is, and so on, you are going to end up not performing very well. And if you're going to do this seriously, I think understanding it is going to be very important. And that's where you guys could find someone like Adele. All right, so I think that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for joining in. If there's any questions you want to ask Adele, you can always go on to her Instagram page.
But also the content that she puts out is very helpful.
It's very, very helpful.
And don't be one of those guys that already, like, I did a very nice, spent a lot of hours on making this content for you guys and answer the same question in the inbox.
And if you do want to actually ask some serious question to her, don't freeload.
Okay? Pay for her time, guys.
There's a lot of expertise that goes into giving people a specific advice. So sometimes it's worth your investment. All right, that's all for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.